Mhm.
All right, today I was thinking about doing some distance healing techniques. How many of you do distance healing?
Mhm.
All right, how do you do it? Let's start with Christine. How do you do distance healing?
So it depends. Usually I visualize them as like holographic, so like a light being. And then I work on them that way. And basically just being like the facilitator, so allowing for the light itself, the source energy, to come in and do what they're going to do. I've done it that way. I've also done it where I concentrate, like if there's something that needs to be I also done it in a way where I'm the conduit, and so if there's like a specific area where I need to focus in on, then I can do that as well. Working with grid lines, working with, just different aspects, whatever basically I'm guided to do, I have done. Or I've done it to where it's just letting source do what they need to do with them, and just being literally just with the witness, witnessing what's going on for them. So I've done it both ways, but usually when I'm doing distance, I visualize them almost like in a, as if they were right in front of me. So whether that's like as a light being, a holograph, or, image, or, just them in front of me, just seeing their energetic self. So, or same with the like group, I send it to, if it's Ukraine, things like that. But I just, set my intention there.
Okay. When you say you see them, do you see their physical image?
Mhm. Yes. So a lot of times, because I do have that clairvoyant piece, so I do see them like physically as like a person in front of me, or even as like if I'm doing for myself or something and I'm looking at something specific, I'll project myself outward. But yes, I see them as an actual person if I haven't seen them before, but that's only if I, know who they are. But if I haven't seen them before for like whatever reason, then I just, as like a energetic being, I trace it as like a same body, and so as a holographic that way.
Good. Okay. Barb, did you have your hand raised earlier?
Did.
Yeah. What? I'll come back to you, Karen. And Barb, what do you do?
Just generally, I visualize the person if it's someone I know, because there is no space. Sometimes I'd like project my energy like I would be if I were doing a healing for a large area, and I throw a line to the person and ask them to pick it up, and there it is. There's the connection.
Good. And Karen, what do you do?
I kind of do the same thing. I just kind of connect. And sometimes with IAT, I'll do what Christine does with a hologram, but I haven't been able to see them, and I would like to.
Okay. Teresa, what do you do?
So at one point I might have done the trying to see the person, but now I'm trying to do more of a energetic approach. So I think of the quantum field and I feel the vibration of the person in the field. There's a unique thread that they are vibrating at. And then I follow that up to a very high dimensional level and open a space for them. And I am, just as Christine said, the witness. I don't put any goal or thought or anything into it. I just hold that high vibrational space so the person can enter into it and dissolve or address whatever issues they may have.
Good. So some slightly differing techniques, but all similar in some way. Kimber, do you do something in particular when you try to do the this type of healing in the distance?
Yeah, well, I go into the healing studio and in my home and just really put them on the table energetically and don't really see a physical form, and just allow myself to get into a highest vibration possible and just hold that space.
Good.
and allow things to come. Like what I step away, like I get out of that left brain thought and stay in the right brain and just allow whatever's to happen and whatever I am guided to do, whether it's to play the bowls or to just be and hold that space for the entire time.
Good. How about you, Yvonne?
Sorry, I was muted. So I don't do distance healing as often as I used to, but when I do it, you know, like a lot of the things that people said, also surround people in love and light or grace or peace, you know, whatever quality I feel that they need. I do tend to visualize the body at times and work with different parts of the body. And also just on a sort of an energetic, I work with the breath. And we'll also do some prayers for them, you know, and partnering with spirit and different light beings to help them.
Donna, do you do any of the healing techniques for distance?
I had to unmute.
Yeah, I think everybody has to do that, so it's okay.
I do occasionally, and I did not predetermine this. It just comes to me that I see very intense white light beams coming from my eyes, and it just goes. As Christine said, if it's to Ukraine, it just goes to the country. And that's all. I do nothing intentional.
Okay, but you know, it is okay to also intend. I want you all to know that if your intending is very clear and pure, and you're not trying to force anything to happen, but just being a provider, it is okay to intend for something to happen. Like if you have a client who's on a transplant list for their liver, it is okay to intend that they receive healing in their liver, and also to decide what type of energy that they may need based on your intuition of that person's needs. So I'll give you, for instance, I have some clients that I do both kidney and liver dialysis with, or liver dialysis. So I have a client that has stage 4 kidney disease and a client who's on a liver transplant list. And the way I help them is by performing a type of dialysis, which cleans their blood for them, which they can no longer do for themselves. It's not the only thing I do, but I'm going to show you that technique now. So I'm going to hold a client in my mind who is on the liver transplant list. Her name starts with a C, so we'll just call her C. Let me know when you can feel her. Show of hands when you can feel her. Good. When you begin to feel her, I want you to note her liver. Someone tell me what it feels like. What's her liver feel like?
The first thing I got is it feels sludgy, like there's a lot of sludge to be cleared, and that it's not able to move things out adequately. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see somebody had their hand up. I apologize, Kimber. Yeah, that was the first thing that I got.
Good. And Kimber, you had your hand up?
Yes, it just felt heavy and mushy.
It does feel that way. Yes. Did everybody have that experience? All right. Can you feel the cirrhosis in the liver? All right. It's very scarred. She's also had cancer of the bile duct, which often goes along with a failed liver.
Yeah, I picked up on the bile, and the sludge that I see is kind of muddy looking. It's sort of a green brown color, and it's thick.
Absolutely. It's in dire straits. So about what you would expect with someone who needs a transplant.
I'm also picking up that the energy is just not moving.
Mhm.
Very, very slow. It's like a river that's gone down to a trickle
Yes.
for both.
I will tell you a few of the other things that you might also notice. She tends to build up fluid in her abdomen. So I've installed a faucet in her abdomen, and I turn on the taps every time I work with her, and it removes all the fluid from her abdomen. And as long as I check in on it and keep the taps open, these are things I just made up in my mind to do for her that help her not be uncomfortable and help her keep going, as well as continuing her ability to stay with us until she can get a transplant. I have worked very hard on her liver. I have not been able to stop her from heading down this path, but I've worked with her a very long time, and she's lived far longer than anybody ever thought she would live. So I'm going to give you some of the techniques I have used to work with her.
Wanda, but before you go in, can I just ask, how is her diet? Because it feels to me like she's not eating like enough fresh greens and maybe too much processed food.
She has an excellent diet.
She does. I wonder how much of those nutrients she's actually absorbing.
Not very many, but
Yeah.
she does have an excellent diet, and I have addressed that, and I'll tell you how I try to address that, and it seems to work some part.
I'm getting a message that she has ancestors that want to help, but she needs to invite them.
Yes, I will let her know that.
Okay.
All right. Everybody focus. And start the way you would normally start to send energy to C. You'll see immediately that there's a huge theater of light beings that always come for her.
Mhm.
How many of you can see them, feel them? How many of you feel the golden white light? All right, and then the white light. And then the light as it breaks down into like a rainbow of different colors that go into different locations. Let me know when you feel it. Focus lower down. Don't focus on it coming in her head, because it's actually comes into her body and begins to break down into different bands of light as needed. Good. Show of hands when you feel it. All right. Now, note what I'm going to do. We've got all these wonderful, oh, now we're getting lasers. So from outside of her now are laser lights coming in that are also in bands of color and all doing different things. They're working on supporting her body. And then if you pay attention very closely to her liver, you will note that it's beginning to work on the cirrhosis. At one point, her liver was very inflamed and hot. Now it sometimes feels really cold because it's beyond the point where inflammation is destroying it. It's already pretty much destroyed. So it often feels cold. So what does that suggest to you?
Lack of circulation,
That's one thing.
or lack of energy too.
Right there, it's pretty much a dead organ.
I see black or smoky gray.
So you might warm it up. Livers are supposed to be warm and not burning hot, but warm because they have a huge blood supply. It's a very bloody organ. Hers doesn't feel that way. So see if you can begin to warm it up. And let me know if that feels right to you. And as we begin to warm it up, Teresa, you're shaking your head. What's going on?
I feel it getting a little bit yellow and sort of moving around, but it isn't very comfortable. It doesn't really like, it doesn't like what I'm doing to it much.
Change the energy you're using to do it.
Uh-huh. So what's the difference between, I mean, I can feel like I'm changing it a little bit, but what was it that I was doing before that created that reaction? Was I too invasive in its face?
Yeah, when you're focusing on it, just focus on it warming up rather than, it felt like you were putting the warmth into individual strands of it.
Yes.
The individual strands didn't like it as much. It's more like it wanted to be enveloped in warmth and warm itself.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Feel the difference now?
Yeah.
And also using a lighter touch with the energy.
Yes.
All right. Good. So as it warms up, you may begin to feel that need for cleansing her blood. How many can feel that need for her blood to be cleaned and her liver to be cleaned? All right. I'm gonna mentally engage and ask that she be placed on liver dialysis. If you've never heard of liver dialysis, it's pretty similar to kidney dialysis, and it's a real thing. Let me know when you can feel her go into that liver dialysis state. How does that feel to you?
It feels like the beginning of a flushing.
Yes.
But she's still braced against it, the liver is at this moment. So it needs
Oh,
like,
it's not cleansing her liver per se, it's cleaning her blood.
okay, yes, but it's still kind of a flushing, yes.
And I'm asking her to relax. I didn't tell her we were gonna do this, but she won't care. I've known her a very long time. There we go. That should feel different. Can you feel a difference now?
Mhm.
Good. I just spoke to her soul. And now it's really happening quickly. Can everyone feel the cleansing? Let me know if you can't, and I'll try to highlight that for you.
Mhm.
Anyone who cannot feel it, let me see a show of hands. All right. So Karen, I'm going to hold this client in front of you. Can you sense her? In fact, she backed right up to you. She's like,
She's what?
up against your front.
Okay.
And she says, like, put your hands here. Feel her?
Not really.
Put your hands in front of you. And then put them where you feel compelled to put them. Got her? She said, thank you. Her soul did. And she says, that's very soothing. It is continuing with the cleansing. It's cleansing the blood supply. As the blood supply is cleansed, what's happening to the liver? Couldn't hear you, Teresa.
It's feeling lighter and larger, like it's expanding, and it actually is happy, or you can feel an emotion from it.
Yes. And it's taking your energy much better. So what's happening with that golden light now?
I see the golden light condensing it a bit, not so jelly. It's firming it up just a little bit. But what's also happening is I had recently had shoulder surgery, and I also feel it coming in. It's like running up my arms. So thank you, everybody.
We were going to get to you. So I guess because I have the intent for you to get it too, it's already started. All of us are concerned for you. So.
you.
All right, there are changes happening. Does anyone feel her spleen?
Yeah, I could feel her spleen, and it seems like it's disgorging a lot of yellow goopy stuff.
Yes. What happens to your spleen if your liver fails?
The bile backs up.
Hmm.
Yes, because both of them do the job of cleansing and are part of your immune function. The spleen gets heavily overworked and enlarges and cannot cleanse the body either. So the cleansing of the bloodstream and the liver part also helps to clean the spleen. And I want you to go deeper into her liver and look at the part that creates hemoglobin. What does it look like?
It looks like a machine that just, the switch isn't working.
Right. It
That's what
can't
I see.
function appropriately to create hemoglobin for her. So she's constantly anemic. And she never has enough iron.
Oh,
So what do you think you should do with that? What is it asking for? Listen to her liver. It will tell you what she needs.
I am seeing root chakra red. She needs a lot of that light. Both for the iron and the blood.
it also seems, Wanda, like there's a certain lobe that is the center for this activity. And it almost wants a little bit of like massage, like it wants to start to pulsate. And that pulsating will both create the hemoglobin and also release it into the bloodstream.
She does have one lobe of her liver that functions better than the others. And I think that is what you're feeling.
Mhm.
I get yes. So continue on and activate that making of hemoglobin function. You may feel her liver begin to pulse and throb.
Yeah.
I'm getting that it needs to be taught to do that.
Do
You
it.
need to do patterning, show it the pattern and tell it to continue.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's going to stop.
Karen, what are you feeling?
Not as much as everybody else.
Pardon me? I couldn't quite hear you, dear.
What's that?
I couldn't quite hear you.
Oh, I'm not feeling as much as everybody else is.
That's okay. Some of these people have done this type of healing forever.
Yeah, I don't mean to compare, but yeah, I did see some kind of like blood vessels over pink skin.
All right.
One of the things that happens when people have this type of disease, it's an autoimmune disorder that she has, or anytime the liver fails, is that it puts pressure on the blood vessels that leave the kidney and starts backing up pressure into them so they can bleed and have internal bleeding. And often the vessels that attach to their esophagus from the liver will rupture.
Mhm.
And the blood vessels are extremely important, both to keep them from rupturing, to protect the esophagus, to let the pressure off of those vessels. The other thing that happens with this type of disease is that the platelet supply becomes impaired. Not only is the red blood cell supply impaired, but the platelets become impaired and she can't make enough of them. If you look at her blood supply, you'll see very deformed platelets and blood cells, which is another reason to clean her blood. All this time, has she stayed with the light sources coming in and them doing their work?
Mhm.
That's still happening. The laser type lights of many colors are coming in, and inside of her, she's breaking down the light and using it. So what's happening inside of her cells as we work? Kimber?
Been sitting with this since we talked about the hemoglobin piece. It's like I see these sequences or calculations, like a misfire, and it's trying to get even inside the cells the calculations correct to be a healthy cell, and it's not sure. It's like a confused state, not sure how to do that, and things keep bouncing around to be able to find that normal sequence, so to speak, and just been sitting with that.
Very good. One of the things that happens when people are very ill and have a chronic condition is that their body can no longer produce amino acids in the correct sequence to make healthy cells. And therefore they cannot repair their body. So almost all of people who have a chronic illness need help in getting their body to create the right protein sequences to produce healthy cells that then produce healthy tissue. That's very good, Kimber.
I just got a visualization. It's been torrential rain here in Florida, and the cells are feeling a little bit like they're under those circumstances, but they can see a crack with a little bit of sunshine. Remember how excited you get?
Yeah.
And that's how the cells are feeling.
Yes, they do. They do get excited. And she loves the healing energy. I can tell you that. It always makes her feel so much better, and everything improves when she has a session. All right, I'm going to show you how I create the tap. She doesn't have a lot of fluid. I've permanently installed these taps in her belly. Let me know when you can feel them. And remember, this is just a construct that I've placed in her as a tool. I'm going to go turn the taps on. What happens?
She's being hydrated. And there's a joy too in the cells because they're kind of like little prunes.
And can anyone feel the excess fluid that gathers in her belly coming off?
Yes, yes.
Good.
In fact, when you put these in, do they work all the time, or are they only working when you're looking at them? Because it seemed like they were pretty backed up. So in other
I think they work when they need to most of the time, but when I go in and tap on them and just give them a little twist and adjust them, they work better.
Better, yeah.
Can I ask a question, Wanda? Would it be helpful if you told her, the client, to turn them on?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
She doesn't feel
she doesn't get it.
does it as well, but no matter. Two heads sometimes are better than one.
Yeah.
And when we do it together, which is basically what happens, they work extremely well for her. And most people with her condition have to go and get, 20 pounds of fluid taken off their belly every few weeks.
Wow,
She doesn't have to do that.
wow.
Never has had to do that. And you see, sometimes I've had it be a gush. Sometimes it's just a trickle. Today it's just this little stream that came out. Anybody feel it? Everybody feel it? Anybody not feel it? Let me know. Okay, Yvonne, what are you feeling?
Just turning on so the things, like when we started, I felt like there were sort of like sacred geometry, all these sort of meridian points where we're being tapped into. And I'm feeling that there's a need to really bring energy up from the earth, and a need for chlorophyll and some comfort. Like I felt some anxiety and a need for sort of the comfort that a kitty would give. And just some gentle massaging of the liver, and working on clearing some of the damaged cells and bringing in the blueprint of the healthy liver closer to the liver, to sort of feel that resonance. Those are some of the things I've felt. Also kind of working on the whole flow from the alimentary canal through the gallbladder and liver and into the intestine.
Doesn't have a gallbladder anymore. They took it
Sorry?
out. She
Okay.
doesn't have a gallbladder anymore because she had the bile duct cancer. They took her gallbladder out, but the area is still there and still kind of looks inflamed. So
Yeah,
that's a good observation.
there's a presence of it.
There is.
Yeah. Because as soon as you brought her up, both the liver and the gallbladder came up for me. And it feels like there's really a need for more energy to come up through her feet.
It will. Hold
Mhm.
on.
Okay, sorry.
So what's happening to her esophagus? Donna?
I am seeing not crevices, but it's not smooth, clean, pink, more kind of rocky and dry looking to me, the interior.
Is that her esophagus or her liver?
Her esophagus.
Okay.
So so I'm feeling that the issues that she has had, possibly acid reflux, has flushed back up into her esophagus to irritate it. Excuse me. But I didn't really have a lot of time to key into the esophagus when you said, okay, esophagus, Donna. And I went, whoa, wait, let me see. But that is what I guess that is what I'm seeing.
And what do you want to do about that?
What are we going to do, did you say?
Yeah, what What are you gonna do? And we're
Oh, what
gonna-
am I? I will repeat, well, I suddenly, just now when you said that, I saw pink, cranberry, berry colored light coming up from her abdominal area, the fresh blood, the oxygenated blood coming up into her esophagus is what I'm seeing.
Very good. One of the things that happens with this type of disease is when it reaches a certain state, they may bypass the esophagus with a stent that changes the way the blood flows to help take the danger away from her bleeding out. When they do that, the part of the blood flow is diverted away from the esophagus, and it often takes less clean blood to the brain. So then they are in danger of confusion, which she's had a number of times. So I think what you're feeling is that diversion of some of the blood flow to prevent the rupture of those vessels and causing her to bleed out. So learning a lot about liver disease.
Yes.
Another thing Wanda, I saw when we were working on the liver was like the microcapillaries were opening up a little bit, and there was some reperfusion of blood on a more on the micro level than the the large
That's
arteries and veins. Yeah.
The liver should be a lot warmer. How many of you can feel that?
Mhm.
What are some of the reasons for that? Is her tissue softer than it was?
It's redder.
It's redder.
Getting some energy. There's some energy moving. It's a little bit firmer.
The striations in the liver, take a look at them. There's striated tissue within those lobes, and there are tubes inside of it. Let's take a look at those and see what's been happening to them. So Yvonne, the blood supply to the liver has improved. That's part of the warming.
Mm-hmm. It also felt earlier like, I mean, part of this was intentional, but sort of on an etheric level, perhaps more than on a gross level. Just a clearing of some of the dead or sicker cells and replacement on the etheric level.
Good. Excellent.
And I'm just getting the message to tell the liver to release a big sigh.
Breathe out.
Right.
That's right.
And
You
take a
will-
break.
Yes, you will feel the difference when that breath out is taken. The other thing you may notice happening, which is why I had not mentioned it before, is that all of this has been causing a clearing of the third chakra in the tubes of the third chakra. As that third chakra clears, what happens to the energy from the root that should be rising up the body? Anybody feel it coming up? You should see some orange and red energy
Red.
coming up her body. Because it could not flow up
Right.
till we got some of this out of the way.
How do-
I feel the energy coming up through the earth and it's like, yay.
Yeah, it gets drawn up when the part that's not working is clear, then it can be drawn up the body, especially with all the white light coming in. What that does is help with the clearing process so that as everything else clears, then the red automatically begins to rise up the body, all the way from under the feet and up, out over the head, and then back down around and flows like a fountain. You may feel that happening. And her liver absolutely loves that.
Yeah.
That was the point I was trying to make. If you get everything else cleared, the rest of it will happen automatically. It's what we're designed to do. So this is an inherited trait that she has. Her sister died from it. Many years ago.
So Wanda, I had a question going back more or less to the beginning when you were talking about the laser beams of light. What was the origin of those beams? I saw them, but I could not determine where they came from or what intention got them to start moving.
When we first started, we created, all of us together created an energy, electromagnetic field around her. As that electromagnetic field interacted with the rest of her field, her own electromagnetic field, there was a syncing up with them, allowing this interchange of energy where she was putting stuff out. And that electromagnetic field that was created as the space was allowing energy from the universe geared toward her needs to come through and act in a very pinpointed way into her system.
Okay, so wasn't that any intent was actually creating it, it was more opening the possibility for what was already there to come in.
Yes, it
Gotcha.
happens automatically too. Because we're supposed to be inundated with energy from outside of ourselves. When we're not clear, it can't come in.
Okay.
We can't receive it. So this is a form of activation that normally occurs for everyone when we're clear and centered and balanced. And then when people are ill and they're not clear and centered and balanced, then that process can't go on. It's
Very helpful. Thank you.
just like when you clear someone, energy automatically comes up, energy automatically goes down because that's what it's supposed to do.
Wanda, can I ask a question? You mentioned our energy field. Does that attract iron if needed? I'm just saying.
It can attract whatever you need.
Okay.
You have to keep it in good working order for it to do that.
Okay.
If you look at her subtle bodies, are they all in good? I mean, they look better now, but were they all in good working order when we started?
No.
Probably not, no.
Roll back your timeline. Just imagine what we just did as a timeline and go back to the beginning of that timeline and look at her then.
Wanda, do you think she would benefit from some of the things I was feeling is like maybe taking chlorophyll, you know, like in a liquid form, and also celery.
Yeah, she already does those things. She
Yeah.
has very good nutrition, but her body can't use it well. In rebuilding the sequencing for the amino acids, you help with that.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just keep feeling like she needs more greens, and especially chlorophyll and celery and some of the other nutrients, you know, I'd say like the dark purples, the dark greens.
I
so
will let you
figure it
know,
out.
but I will, you know, I'll also state that she goes to a nutritionist.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it just feels like the body is really asking for nutrients.
Yeah, I think why she's not getting them isn't her food intake.
Does she do any IVs like Myers cocktails or anything like that? Glutathione?
Gave it up because she wasn't getting better.
Oh, okay.
Can will any essential oil help?
She has used those too.
Okay.
There's not much she hasn't tried. What she finds that retards it the best is the energy work. But she does other things, and she is quite diligent in her practices.
Is she working with sound healing?
She has done that, yes.
Was it helpful to her?
Not as much as some other things.
Hmm. Okay.
So does anyone else feel the need for her to have another exhale out of her body?
Yes, from the esophagus,
Yeah.
from her
Yes.
esophagus.
Since we can't tell her, or I'll tell her, but I'll tell her so, that she wants you to help her, so blow out for her. You're not processing your energy, you're just giving her an idea of what needs to happen so that she can follow along and do it too. Good. Yvonne, I will tell her everything that you have told me. But again, she probably already does all of that. I know her very well, and I know what
Sure.
she needs.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the only thing I would say is that it might also depend on the kind of sound healing that she does. Some may be more helpful than others.
Blow out.
Like, what's the song of a healthy liver?
Pardon me?
I said, like, what's the song of a healthy liver? You know, the song of a healthy liver. What does it sound like? What's its frequency and its
For her?
vibration?
For her?
Mhm.
Everybody tell me that.
Hmm. The first thing that comes to me is like the ah sound. Ah. I mean, I don't know if that's the liver. I doubt that it is, but that's the sound that I got.
I'm getting an M when working with the lasers.
Oh. Mm.
We're gonna do it this way. 1, 2, 3, and you make the sound that you think she needs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. There's many. Mhm.
After I say 3.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3.
Ah.
Ooh, that felt good.
What's her liver doing?
It's dancing.
Pulsating.
That's exactly what I got. It's dancing.
Right. You don't have to make the same sound every time. She could use a lot of them.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3.
Oh.
doing clearing like crazy.
Yvonne, can I suggest you lead a medicine Buddha?
Sure.
Let's not do it here.
Okay.
But later. Okay.
All together, 1, 2, 3.
Pa, 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 pa.
Go out. She's centering. Many people can feel that.
Yes.
Kimber, what you feeling?
Yes, feeling the flow and just feeling the cells reaching for that alignment of frequency to redo their numbers. It seems it's like it's getting closer for the cells to figure out where to station themselves for healthiness, if that makes sense.
Her DNA is resequencing.
Oh, thank you then.
Inside the cell, it's like the DNA has a lot that it doesn't express, and some of it turns off. So she is resequencing in a way that doesn't mean her DNA goes away. It means that some of it's that's been turned off, turned on. Let me know if you can feel that.
Mhm.
There are others here having a DNA resequencing as well, a turning on. So when we are ill, sometimes it's because part of our DNA changes its expression. And then we don't have what we need to keep something healthy. So in this reawakening in the DNA, there are markers that are turning back on. And what is that doing to her enzymes? What's happening in the enzymes of her body? Enzyme production, enzyme sequencing, body chemistry. Anybody feel that?
And there's a shape shifting.
What's
Yes.
happening with her platelets
Yeah.
as we were in this manner?
Multiplying
Ooh.
little bubbles.
I'm seeing a team of cheerleaders telling them to get going.
Looked to me like her sinuses were clearing.
Oh,
Yeah, she needs that too.
So Wanda, let me ask you this. If her DNA has been sort of repaired and there's an activation in her whole enzyme area, why does that not last? Why does the
Sometimes
body
it
go
does.
back into patterning that it was used to? Why does that disappear?
Sometimes it does last. When I first started working with her, she had such bad blood chemistry levels that they didn't think she was gonna live. They were getting ready to do a transplant right away. we got her off the transplant list and living okay for years.
Wow. Wow.
And lately, especially when she had the cancer, it's harder to
Harder to keep it up. Gotcha. Okay.
So, and as a result, she has declined some, but the cancer, when she had it, and all I do with her is distance healing because I don't live where she is anymore. But I kept telling her, I'm not supposed to make it go away. I'm supposed to contain it.
Right.
And so I contained it. It never grew any bigger.
Never goes away.
Still decided, no, they took it out. And
Hmm.
she, and because it was contained, they were able to get all of it.
Hmm.
That's what they told her. It's been contained and we were able to get all of it. It never grew.
Very
So
good. Very
trust
good.
your instincts about things. If you're told they'll take it away, contain it, then contain it. Just trust what you feel like is the right thing to do. And so she couldn't be on the transplant list if she had active cancer. And she's been living with this like 30 years.
Are we making her more comfortable?
Of
I'm
course,
getting a section, this is kind of transition prep.
yes.
Okay.
Do I think that it is possible she will have a liver transplant? I do. Do I think she's going to want to live long enough to do that? That's another question.
Hmm.
Because she's very tired now of dealing with it.
Yeah.
And so those are two different issues.
Can I ask another question?
Yes.
What was the condition of the fat in her liver? Does that need to be cleared, or was that a problem ahead of time?
She doesn't have a fatty liver,
Okay,
which is a separate thing
Mhm.
that often causes liver failure too. But she doesn't have that. She's underweight.
Hmm.
Wanda, I have a question. So you had mentioned before that this was inherited, this autoimmune disease that she has. Can you talk a little more to that in the sense of, because a word that kept coming up for me was trauma, and I just don't know if she had as we know that it's sometimes trauma is stored in our bodies and stuff, and that's what can create autoimmune diseases. So I didn't know if that's part of that or if she's done like a lot of work around that so that it's more inherited. Can you just talk about the two? Because I guess I thought it would be more coming from just the fact of maybe experience, even if it is cross generations, and inherited that way. But I feel like, I don't know, trauma just kept coming up. So I wasn't sure if, how that differs from it being inherited, if there is a difference in this case. Or
In the
gen-
beginning, when we first started working, we dealt with a lot of that.
Mhm,
And her biggest trauma was losing her sister,
mhm,
the disease. And somehow that has translated into her that it's the way she's going to go to.
mhm, mhm.
So yes, we've fought against that very hard and over not deciding to die in sympathy with your sister.
Mhm.
Yes, and any past life stuff. Yvonne?
Yes, that was kind of my piggyback question. I was wondering about sort of on a karmic or soul level, if that is an important factor here in the family genetics, or what the higher intention is, and also what might have contributed to not only the genetics, but also the epigenetics of this being turned on. Now, you already spoke to some of that in terms of her sister dying and the grief and kind of following in her footsteps, but it just felt like there's maybe some other pieces there. That I was curious
I
about.
know all of those, and I've been a little reluctant to share, and just in case anybody knows who this person is.
Okay, can I rephrase it and ask in general? Could you just talk about what tends to be?
There are things. What time are we supposed to finish up, Donna?
Never.
We have 11 minutes left.
Well,
How long?
technically at 1:15 and then closing prayer, and then we leave at 1:30.
Do you guys want to stay a little longer than that?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
And I just made you the host. I just sent a little message that, as you know, Wanda, I need to leave.
Bye.
And I made you the host. So
All right.
goodbye, everyone.
All right,
Bye.
good luck, Donna.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh, good luck with your daughter.
Thank you so much.
I just saw your message. Yeah, sending prayers your way.
Okay, thank you. I'll see all of you on the 20th.
Okay, thanks, Donna. Bye-bye.
All right, so, yes, we have been there and done that, and still do that on occasion when I feel a bleed over of it. But one of the things that is a constant work with her is for her not to be depressed. And that was true long before she became ill. So she's been depressed her whole life. And one of the things I do is fight with that depression quite frequently and try to bring her out of it. And we can bring her out of it for long periods of time, but it tends to creep back again. These are decisions that you have to make as a soul to decide to be happy. And some souls have trouble making that decision, even with a lot of input. Hold on just a moment. I've got to get Patrick to take the dog out, but you can probably hear him whining. Let me get Patrick. He's already on his way downstairs. Okay, you could probably hear all of that.
That's okay. Wanda, I'm getting a message that she's holding on to her sister in her body.
Absolutely, and I have removed her many times, and every time I do, she pulls it back again. So I can't make that decision
Right.
for her.
Right.
Only she can do that.
Can she do a cord cutting like they have them on YouTube?
Any way you can do to try to get her to stop that, I have done it.
Okay.
If you guys think you can do it better, go have at it.
One thought I had, Wanda, and this is in no way about like your, magnificent skills, but I was just wondering if maybe she could connect and hold on to a happy, healthy part of her sister instead.
Yeah, I've tried that too. And her sister even comes and tells her that and talks to her, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be something that Connie is sorry for that.
I think she feels a little responsible. Was it a younger sister? No, okay.
Yeah. I was just gonna say and add to, and that's the reason why I was asking the question earlier, was just that it just what kept coming up was just trauma being stored in the body and just not releasing it. And so it seems like when you work with her on that, just like you said, it just keeps coming back because again, it is a choice that she has to make to release that. And we can't, even as
Make that choice for her.
we can't, make that choice for her. We can't do it for her. We can help guide her, but that's about as far as it goes. But that's what kept coming up for me, was just that there was stored trauma in the body. And that's kind of what we've been seeing and witnessing as we've been working on her. But I did see, there was a rejuvenation going on. There was the cells vibrating and things like that. So, but again, like you said, it's going to come down to that choice, because I do also feel that she could be, get a transplant as well. But like you said, if she holds on, but I think there's a good chance of that. It's just, it is kind of, yeah.
That ultimately, I think she will be on the list and will be offered an opportunity, because I
Yeah.
do see her living well into her late 70s and possibly even 80. So I think she will live. I could be wrong, but that could just be my love for her talking, but I don't think it is. I see her working in her garden when she's in her mid 70s. So yeah, I'm gonna cry now.
Okay, Wanda,
Barbara?
does she understand that she's in charge of her energy?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything I've talked to you about, I've talked to about with her, that she's the one that has to decide to live or not. And that she's the one that has to decide whether she gets a transplant or not. But you're talking about a serious illness, and not everyone can overcome a serious illness. Not everyone has the resiliency. They're just not born with that resiliency to be able to come back from it or from trauma. Everyone's different. So you work with the person the way you can work with them. And she's been alive a long time when she's not supposed to be. And
Well, Wanda, I just want to acknowledge you for the beautiful, beautiful work you've done with her. It sounds like you've made a tremendous difference. And even though she may not be ready to shift on every level, I think it's important to also acknowledge that she has taken in a lot and allowed, a lot of shifts. So there has been some choosing in a positive direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I get as well.
And I'm getting that we're just as much working on her soul.
always.
Right.
You can't work on the body
Right.
without being working on the soul as well, because it's all one thing.
And I think that soul's just had a little burst.
Good. She accepted more of the golden white light, the wisdom, the soul's wisdom. So excellent. All right, I was going to do Yvonne and Barb, but I think we're rapidly running out of time. But if you'll give us 15 minutes, maybe let's all work on Yvonne and Barb. Barb, you want to tell them what happened to you? Does everyone know?
In October, I was in a car accident and I broke 14 bones and punctured my lung. And Jesus came and sat with me in the car and told me he wasn't done with me. Very, very comforting. And Wanda provided a healing, and I've exactly followed the path of healing that she walked me through, actually. I'm doing much better. I just had the last bones put together, my collarbone, because my leg hadn't healed enough to support my body. I'm getting around. I went to the beach the other day. I was surprised I could walk on the sand.
Well, you
And-
look wonderful, Barbara.
Well,
Yeah, you
thanks.
do. So good.
Thank you. It was a trauma.
Yes, it was. Yvonne, you want to tell them anything about what you've been going through?
Sure. I've been dealing with pretty significant chronic fatigue and some rheumatoid issues that are primarily muscular and also a little bit of nerve and joint. There's some neurological pieces, and I'm just the most important thing to me right now is regaining my physical energy.
Mm.
All right. So let's start working on both ladies. Do you know how to do two people at once?
Mhm.
Can you say something about that?
Yeah.
Because it feels
Sure.
When you work on two people, you just hold them both in your mind. And there are a number of things you can do. You can switch back and forth between them to pay attention and see what's going on. But you start the energy flows. The energy will begin to do the work. You can look at them both at once and kind of see what's happening to both of them, or you can switch back and forth, whichever way it feels more comfortable to you. Both of you should feel the energy because it's coming down pretty strongly for you.
Barbara, one of the things I felt for you is a refortification. Like just such a strong refortification. And not just a repairing of, what was injured or broken, but like on a whole new level of refortification. That's the word that just keeps coming up for me. So I wanted to share that with you.
So Yvonne, when you said that, what I thought you said was she needs a Florida vacation.
That's so what I
And I
thought.
said, she's already there.
Same, Teresa.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, better that you thought Florida vacation than some of the other possibilities.
Very nice. A lot of heart work as well. Not just bones and tissue for the both of you, but also heart work and relationship work. How you relate to the world, how you relate to people around you, disappointments in life. And there's also some being able to process your feelings about what other people do or don't do, or can and cannot do. Like needing to accept that some people just aren't going to be well. And there's nothing you can do. And that others will have magnificent wellness and take the help. And that includes family members. Also, both of you need to know that each of you is coming back as a different type of healer in your next life. And you will be bringing some leading edge skills back to the earth with you when you come back. And so you have surrounded yourself with people who need help, so that when you return, you have figured out the best help that you can be.
Wow.
There are at least 3 lifetimes for Yvonne after that, and 2 for you, Barbara, where you return and hone these skills even more and make yourself available to more and more people as a healer. You will both have PhD, MD, and several other designations after your names, and at least one of you will be on television doing healing. So that may help you with some of the things you grapple with now. Learn well. Good, that's helping your heart to clear a lot. You've been on this path a long time, so it is a soul's journey. Part of your ascension process. I feel a lot of changes, and a lot of the divine infinite. So Christine, do you have anything to say to either of them?
Yeah, for Yvonne, I definitely, when I first tuned in, I saw like a battery being powered up. And then I just saw you coming back into balance, like all of your chakras, just everything, meridian points, just everything, just coming back into a balance. And then for Barb, I saw just the word that came up was renewal. And I just see her just like I did from day one when we would send her healing. I just see her up out of that, the wheelchair, just standing up out of the chair and just walking and just being like having this renewal sense and lease on life even, but just being even better than she was found, originally, even before all of this, just in a better place. And I just physically, emotionally, just everything. And that's what that keeps coming up for me every time I tune in for you. So yeah. And then the cells just vibrating. For both of you, I just see the cells, individual cells in your body just vibrating like intensely and just filled with so much light. So thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Teresa.
So actually, I saw the work that we were doing on Yvonne and Barbara turn into something that we were doing for all of us as a group, that it was an energetic exchange, and all of us were sort of uplifted and energized. And I want to thank you all because it was just wonderful. I could feel it very strongly. And also, Wanda, I felt a lot of our energy going into you for whatever you need it to do. So it was a very nice
My
session.
daughter-in-law had a heart attack on Friday night. So, yeah, I'm leaving here.
Sorry about that.
She's in critical care. And so that's probably what you're feeling. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit difficult. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we were all there for you.
Kimber?
Wow, that's probably why I was just getting, all I kept getting was just send love to their hearts, to all of our hearts, and just stay in that space of self-love. And that's truly what this whole session was for me, was going into that heart space and holding that. So.
And Karen?
I just felt the need to send a lot of love and good energy, and I felt that it was taken.
Do you see Yvonne's response to that? Yes, I think it was all taken by everyone. And these two ladies look better to me. There's your core is wider for both of you. There's more energy in yourselves. Parts of you have been energized that weren't energized. Particularly some for you, Yvonne. There was a lot of emotional healing. There was a lot of soul healing. And it was rather extensive. I know we did it quickly, but it was rather extensive work while it was happening. So
Thank you so much.
we love you.
Really appreciate it.
It's quite beautiful too. And it was some of the colors coming out of you people. Oh, they were so pretty. They were fantastic. Otherworldly. And sometimes extremely worldly. Like the ocean, the color of the ocean, and the color of that palm leaf on that picture behind you, and even brighter greens than that. I know that's not a real picture, I mean, not reality, but
photo.
It was. Just
Can I make a comment about my healing? What you said really hit me about the emotional. As you know, my son just isn't functioning. And you said, I need to process. Well, when I sold my house, he came down here. He followed me down. He couldn't find a place to live. No one would take him. So I paid for a year. On the condition he, 1, pay me back, 2, get a job as soon as possible, or 3, if not, get some support. The year was up on the 1st. He's now homeless. And I'm realizing just now the rescuing ends. I mean, the crises escalate. They just get worse and worse. It's like it's shouting. If I try to ignore it, the crisis just keeps shouting. I'm ready to stop.
good.
But I feel like he's just not going to do it. And the weird thing is his father died at the same age, and so did his uncle. I
That
don't know
doesn't
if it's
mean,
part of his thought. I think it's part of his thought.
yeah, that doesn't mean he's gonna die.
Right.
There's a male figure that will help with him. I
Good.
don't know who this male figure is, but it helps to lift him up in a new way that you cannot do because you're his mother and you're not objective about him.
Right. Thank you.
I do feel like he may go to a homeless shelter, but that this is the beginning of him finding a way to turn his life around a bit. And you need to love him and keep your arms out, but don't like this, but don't pick
But
him.
like this. Yes.
Yeah, keep
Thank you, Wanda. I feel so much better.
good. All right.
Thank you.
We're going to end up with a prayer. So I'm asking for a prayer for my daughter-in-law and my son, because he's hurting too, of course. And everyone say who you want. Just say it all at once.
Barbara.
Victor, Sasha, Anthony,
Rena.
Sarah, Lucille, of the house for a good move.
Mama John, for my dad,
Yeah.
for Lynn, for Janet McKinley, for Benny, for Terry, for Cindy,
Oh, for family. Carl,
my
Allison.
son, for my dream team, for my friends, family, my grandmother.
And you know, I'm not really good with tongue limits. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll say the prayer in just a moment. I love you all so much, and it means a lot to me that you're here today. So I hope you all felt like you learned a little bit about doing healing from a distance. And anything that you ever want me to talk about, you can send it to me and I'll try to cover it for you. So
Wanda, just one more comment. My best friend died of exactly what we covered today. And I sense her, this is what's supposed to happen, is for people to be trained to work on the healing. She had lupus, which was her immune issue. Thank you.
It was wonderful, Wanda. Thank you very much for
Thank you
being
so
here
much.
and leading us. This was lovely.
see your friend, and she's very much present and happy, very happy. So, all right. I said prayer. Divine Infinite Spirit, thank you for being with us, for being one with us. We ask that we are clear. Centered. Grounded. Balanced. Aligned. And filled with light, love, peace, and joy. We ask for the help of the ascended beings, the masters, the guides, the angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Ariel, Ezekiel, Metatron, Azrael, Ezekiel, Sinshao, Zachiel, Master Christ, Master Buddha. There is a gathering of these strided bands of light beings that have come in, and they're going to take everyone you mentioned, and they're doing healing on all of them now. And on all of us. It's super powerful. And it's comforting at the same time. And there is soul renewal, body renewal, emotional renewal, a reconfirming of everyone's self-identity in the way that is healthy. And they want you to all see your own light beingness. So you are one of those helping as a light being. Even as you receive help from yourself and from all those who have joined together, for your loved ones and your friends, for the people in Ukraine, because some of you must have had that in your mind, for the parents of children who have been shot, for the leadership in this country. It's going everywhere. And there is an encouragement inside of this energy for people to lay down their weapons, whatever those weapons are. Not all weapons or guns or sticks or those types, some weapons or words and hatred. All right, that feels complete.
Mm.
Blessings to you all.
Thank you
Wow.
so much, Wanda. Sending you so much light and love as well. Mhm.
Nothing but love here. It feels so good.
Mhm.
Love you, Yvonne, Kimber, Karen, Barbara, Christine, Teresa.
Love you too, Wanda.
Love you. Love you all.
Wonderful. Thank you.
This was lovely. Thank you so
Love
much.
you all.
And Yvonne, I'm glad to see you're back.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too, Barbara.
Been a long time. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Wanda.
Wanda, have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Do too. I'm gonna
Wanda,
get off and get, yes.
could you stay for just 1 minute? I just wanted to say one more thing about your client.
Sure.
Okay, so bye, everybody. I was gonna ask you, you mentioned that she's working with a nutritionist, but is she working with a functional nutritionist or just a regular nutritionist?
Oh, she was working with one who specializes in illnesses.
But is this person, do they have a functional medicine training? Or
She
just,
has been to a functional medicine practitioner, yes.
um,
I know that her nutritionist is.
I
but-
think that might be helpful, you
Okay.
know, yeah. Because there's I personally feel from working with medical providers, you know, nutritionists in general, yeah, they can do some helpful things, but I think that a functional nutritionist who really knows their stuff, you know, like of a different ilk, could be potentially a lot more helpful to her.
All right, I'll let her know everything you've suggested about.
Okay, okay.
I remember it all, but if you want to send me an email, I will give that to her.
Sure, sure. And you know, if you ever wanted to do like a session together with her, if she wanted that,
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
be
she's
happy
open
to.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I would be happy to join. And you know, I mean, I've done so much studying. You know, there might be a few pieces. I know you're very, very good all by yourself. I just wanted to offer.
I'm okay with other people joining and helping out in any way they can, because she needs all the help she can get. And
Yeah.
the more heads, the better.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just putting that offer out there.
Yeah, if I sounded defensive, I didn't mean to.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I'm just giving you your due. You know, you're really quite beautiful and amazing. So I didn't want to overstep. That's why I said it. Not because you seem defensive at all.
She's, yeah, I know that her diet is very strict. It's all organic, whole grains, lots of greens, juices, and it's pretty specialized. But I will let her know, because maybe there's something else they can add that she's not considering, or the current one isn't giving her. And we'll go from there and see if I have.
Sure.
Like I said, she
Yeah.
needs all the help she can get.
Yeah. Well, it was, you know, very wonderful that she, you know, you brought her in today to get some extra help. And also I thank you for including me and Barbara.
I hope that helped. because
Yes.
It felt like it did.
Yes.
All
And
right.
we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Okay,
Yes,
sweetie.
I gotta go see my daughter.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I hope she's better. What is her name, if you don't mind my asking?
Alex.
Alex. Okay. Love to Alex.
It's Alexandra, but she's
Uh-huh.
by Alex.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I send some love to your heart too, because it feels like,
Breaking.
yeah. Okay. Sending you love. Is tomorrow still good for you, or given like this family situation, do you want to
with her all day today, and then I'm working tomorrow.
Okay. I just wanted to check because, you know, this came up, so I would understand. All right. Okay, sweetie. I love you. Take care.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.